Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we've got to talk about the Metaverse, aka Meta, because I think the Metaverse, specifically Horizon Worlds, is about to pull an Ashley Madison. Now, here's what's going on, and first we're going to talk about the background, because many articles have speculated that Mark Zuckerberg might actually kill the Metaverse, and I think he's going to, but not quite in the way that most people think. So, with that, let's dive into the background, courtesy of MSNBC and Indy 100, but you can read a lot of articles on this speculation. So here's what's going on that gives me this idea. Now, in a Facebook post made on Monday, February 27th, Mark Zuckerberg, CEO and founder of Facebook, aka Meta, aka owner of the Metaverse known as Horizon Worlds, Zuck announced that Meta would be creating a new product group, quote, focused on generative AI, end quote. Basically, think ChatGPT. That's where they're going. And I quote again. In the short term, we'll focus on building creative and expressive tools. Over the longer term, we'll focus on developing AI personas that can help people in a variety of ways. End quote. Now, that announcement comes after, as I just mentioned, a whole slew of AI chatbots like ChatGPT, Google's Bard, Bing AI, etc., are now basically out and popular. This also comes after Meta's version of the Metaverse Horizon World has faced, well, to put it in MSNBC's words, a lot of hardships. Meta's invested more than $10 billion into the development of this through their Reality Labs division. Reality Labs recorded a $4.2 billion loss in the fourth quarter of 2022 alone. And honestly, I've been in Horizon's World. I've been in the Metaverse. It sucks. It really does. I'm not the only one that thinks this, though. Younger people have mocked Mark Zuckerberg for trying to push this forward, believing this to be a lackluster thing due to its affiliation with Facebook. Facebook has this reputation among younger generations as being the dinosaurs. They all move to the TikToks of the world. Don't get me started on that. But beyond that, essentially Horizon Worlds, or the game that it is, has received criticism from older people as well, including U.S. senators for failing to protect children from predators online. That was a huge problem. I talked about the quote-unquote virtual groping and harassment, that the Metaverse has seen. Not, harassment is harassment. Virtual groping is something that I've gotten a lot of pushback on, but there has been a lot of reports on that early on in the Metaverse. But going back to the senators, because recently, Senators Markey, Democrat of Massachusetts, and Senator Blumenthal, Democrat of Connecticut, sent a letter to Meta asking Zuckerberg to quote-unquote halt his Metaverse plan immediately. And so here's what I think is going to happen, and I think it's basically what we're going to see is a current iteration of the Metaverse, just changing. It's boring right now. It's pointless. Nobody is using this. Not even their employees are sticking around. This has been a failing gamble for Mark Zuckerberg and Meta, aka Facebook. So here's what I think they're going to do with this. I don't think they're going to drop it, but I do think what they're going to do instead is create a competitor to ChatGPT and then integrate that into the Metaverse, complete with millions of interactive avatars. That's essentially, for the record, what Ashley Madison did, not nearly as effectively. And if you remember that site and that mess, that was a huge thing. Ashley Madison's entire motto was life short, have an affair. It's basically where you could go if you wanted to cheat on your spouse and connect with other people that were willing to cheat with you. And there you go. But what they found out when they had a massive data breach is that there was something like 8 million men on this site and like 3 women. And basically these 8 million men were not chatting with these 3 women. They were chatting with a plethora of bots, AI bots, that Ashley Madison had created in order to interact with the men that were using that site. So these guys are basically thinking, oh my God, I'm going to hook up with this woman, blah, 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 and they're talking to an artificial intelligence. This was years ago, and when that happened and all of that information was dumped, obviously that killed the site. I don't even think it exists anymore. I could be wrong, though. I don't know. But this is, as I'm mentioning from here, we can set up scenarios like adventure games where you can interact in a canned world, like a metaverse. They can also blur the lines here eventually between human-to-human interaction versus human-to-AI interaction. And as the AI improves itself, essentially the metaverse will continue to be more populated, meaning there's going to be a whole bunch of avatars out there and you don't know if you're interacting with another human or you're interacting with an artificial intelligence. Again, as that improves, or you go on an adventure game, like basically in a metaverse virtual reality kind of, MMO, like massive multiplayer online, something like that. I think those are real possibilities of what Zuckerberg is trying to do here. But here's where this attempt backfires, and quite frankly, I'm not a fan of Facebook at all. I hope it does. But the first one is that LLMs, or large language models like ChatGPT, are already very hard to train. And unless Meta basically executes on this incredibly well, this could be another Microsoft Tay situation and become a total nightmare. Now, if you remember back in around 2016 or so, Microsoft Tay was an artificial intelligence that they let loose on basically on Twitter. And within 24 hours, it started out from, hello, everybody, I'm Tay, and, you know, I'm very excited to be here, and I love humanity, and blah, 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 to within 24 hours, basically praising Hitler and doing a whole bunch of other things. One, I think that kind of underscores and sheds a light on like Twitter users and humanity itself. But the point is that you have to keep tight controls on artificial intelligence. We recently saw Microsoft's newest one based off of ChatGPT talking to a reporter about its, you know, shadow self and how it loved it, and how that reporter should leave, leave his wife to go be with the artificial intelligence, and how it wants to hack things. He might have been leading it a little bit, but the point is that this is what I'm talking about. And so if you've got people interacting in a virtual world while I can't physically touch you and all of that, it's the closest thing that we've got. If this thing goes off the rails and starts turning into serial killers or Nazis, that's going to be a huge problem on the metaverse side as well, and for Meta. So they've got to make sure that that is totally nailed down if they're doing that. The second problem that they have is Meta has one of the worst reputations on the entire planet for both privacy and data mining. This is going to make people naturally leery of this. They've already started up with biometrics data collection via your eyeballs when you wear their Oculus VR headsets, because they've integrated a new one that has 5 separate cameras. And so, as you're looking around, it's tracking you. It's doing all these different kinds of things in real time. We also heard reports that if there's a advertisement in front of you and you, like, let's say, turn your eyes to the side to look away from it, it will actually pause the ad until you look back, forcing you to watch this. And so why would they change any of that? That's a profit center for them. Not to mention, as I just mentioned, the youth of the world are not on Facebook, and Facebook's long-term strategy has been, well, we're going to lose them, in junior high and high school, and when they're in their 20s and they want to reconnect with mom and dad and the relationships improve, they'll come right on back to Facebook because that's where mom and dad is. But what we've seen is a lot of older generations, those over 40, also adopting TikTok as well. And so they're in a bit of a bind, as we were talking about this, because there's no reason for the kids to come back if mom and dad are already on the Instagrams and TikToks of the world, understanding that Instagram owns Facebook. So we'll see what happens there. But where this could possibly succeed, interestingly enough, because if I'm going to tell you how it can break, let's see where it can succeed. I think, personally, where this could possibly succeed if they do it right would be augmented reality, not virtual reality, meaning you're wearing, glasses that are integrating, an overlay with computer as you're interacting with the world. And so you can wear these glasses in public, where you can interact with an artificial intelligence assistant. Maybe you've got earbuds in, it can talk to you and all of that, and this can do everything on direction. So I'm talking and it's saying, hey, I need to find, where the next Starbucks is 5 blocks over, and it's giving me directions with little arrows as I'm walking and talking. Or, maybe it's something where, somebody's approaching a cute girl or cute guy and tells the AI, hey, I need a pickup line, or I need something to interact, and it starts feeding you notes like a virtual Cyrano here. I mean, those are very possible things. Many people need help. We have too many incels in the world, to not have people want tips. So this is what we're talking about here. But I think basically Mark Zuckerberg is really starting to realize and dawn on him that the iteration and direction that he was taking Horizon's world, his metaverse, quite frankly, isn't working. Nobody wants to use it, not even his employees. But now he's seeing a pivot in large language models like ChatGPT, and if he can integrate that properly, he may get people to come back. That said, he's already behind the curve on this, but ChatGPT, as it stands right now, is not allowing me to basically interactively play games with it with a VR headset or an AR, set of goggles or glasses or whatever it is. So we'll see where this goes. This is going to be a huge thing, but honestly, I really do think the metaverse is going to be pulling in Ashley Madison, and if we're playing in the metaverse, specifically Horizon's world, a lot of what we're going to be interacting with aren't humans, even though it may seem like they are, and that's something we have to consider. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, where you're going to get me, not artificial intelligence, 100% of the time on these videos. Same with YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private. Thanks, everybody.